Could you use a quick tip daily? How about a tip that can impact your day? My name is Rafael. Join me as I bring you tips by experts around the world. These experts have shared their knowledge and wisdom with me and will directly share them with you. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and comment, and I would love for you to become part of the New Tip Daily community. Laura, good morning. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me on New Tip Daily. How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you doing?
Exceptional. Getting better every day. And no matter how many times you'll ask me, I'll say the same thing.
Right?
Because I
Yeah.
got to believe it, right? I say it for me, right? But sometimes that little saying helps someone else say, you know what? I like that. And I'm going to start using it. You know how many people are starting to use it? I said, go for it.
Yeah. Share the wealth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
And that's what you're doing here today. You're going to share the wealth of Commit to Leadership, your 31-day challenge. Yes, challenge. I'd love to hear more about it.
Sure. Yeah. So the story behind it was during COVID, I was working with a business coach, and she was like, there was so much going on then. Like we all know what that was like, and people were unfocused, and there was a lot of fear, and there was a lot of things going on with people feeling out of control. And I thought, well, I want to just do something that's going to help people even focus for a few minutes a day, right? And so I started recording these 5 or 10 minute sessions that would talk about, a certain thing like habits or communication or whatever it was that was relevant to leadership so that they could have more tools to lead in their lives at that point. Little did I know how it was going to ripple out. Um, and so I recorded these for 31 days in a row. And, as you know, and I know you know this, it's a big commitment to do 31 days, regardless of you doing 700 days. And I'm sure you're going to talk about that. But so I recorded these videos, and they were just not intentional for any kind of money making or business purpose. It was more just to help people. And it turned into this whole thing. So what I did is I transcribed all those videos and I put them into a book with a worksheet on every chapter so that people could have something to do every day, and that they, after 31 days, if they did and took action on all of the things in the book, they would have dynamic change in their business. Now, if they just read the book, they would get some ideas, but if they actually did the work and got into action, there would definitely be a shift. So that's the reason I wrote it. And I just feel like it's just such a good tool for people to create change in their business and in their life, because leadership is not just about business. It's how you wake up every morning and show up in the world.
Mm, I love that. How you wake up every morning. And would you say that your evening before you wake up the morning, it's you kind of presetting yourself up for the next day. You're setting up your intentions the night before.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. And not only that, I look at my calendar for the next day and I know who and what I'm doing, and I get my head in that space. Like I'm just like, all right, I need to be ready for this in the morning. Let's pull in some good energy so that everybody's, feeling good, and just having an outlook of gratitude, because if you don't start your day with that, you're not setting yourself up for success, and then in turn you're not setting others up for success. And like that's not rocket science, but it's something that we don't consciously talk about a lot, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, setting up for success. So you talk about commit to leadership, right? What
Hmm.
does that mean? And then you have a 31 day, but it's not just a challenge. I love the word yes in front of it. Is it because you're
Yeah.
saying yes to the challenge?
That's a really good question, and I've thought about it. I think it's more the challenge is the challenge, and so heck yes, you should say yes to the challenge. But I think more importantly is you have to say yes to change for yourself.
Mm,
Because until you decide to take action, you can read all the books in the world and learn all the things in the world. But I mean, and you and I know, because we're both martial artists, until you get into action and get on the mat and start practicing, then nothing can change. And so saying yes can not just reflect in the book, it's going to reflect in so many other areas of your life. Did you ever watch that movie with the comedian? It's called Yes Man. Jim Carrey.
No, I did not. Okay.
It was an
Yeah,
older
I
movie.
didn't watch it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he says yes to like for like a year or something, and his whole life changes. And I always think about that. I'm like, how different could our lives be in so many good ways if we said yes more to the things that served
Mm,
us? Yeah.
mm. Uh, so I'm wondering, do we always say yes to everything, but some things are not going to be positive, right? Because somebody will go, "Hey, let's go do some drugs." Yes, you can't do that, right? So
Right.
is it
Yeah.
that we have to choose what we say yes to more often?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something I think that is inherent in each of us, because what is good for ourselves, and we may not always know that at the time, but we can ask ourselves a few questions. One of the chapters in the book is about habits, and I do this habit reboot in there where we look at all your current habits that you have, and those are on all different levels. There's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and then there's like a column of the things that we have now, and then we set up a new column with the new habits we want to embrace. But just like where you said, do we say yes to everything? The habits that serve you, you want to keep. The
Mm,
habits that don't, like for instance, eating a donut a day, I mean, is that really a good habit? Probably not. It's not going to end up
right,
well, right? If you keep doing it for years, though it may be delicious.
right.
Or smoking or anything else like that. So it could be an addiction that is not a good habit. So then we take the habits that serve us and put them in the new column. And then we write out why that habit resonates with us. And so
Mm.
there's an awareness of what's important to us and what we want to say yes to and what we want to take action on.
I love that. It's I love the fact that we're getting into habits because saying yes to a 31-day challenge can change your habits because now you're saying some yes to a positive thing in your life, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people say, "Well, I can't do that." Right? Let's say it's a 100 push-up challenge. People go, "I can never do 100 push-ups." You say, "Okay, I can't do it yet." I love the word yet because if I start maybe 2 a day, and then after a couple
Right.
of weeks, 2 seems so easy, and then I can go to 3 or 4, and eventually, if I don't stop, I'll eventually get to 100, but we can't put it off, by saying, "I cannot." We can say, "I can't do it yet."
Exactly. And I do talk about leadership in that book. And
Mm,
what most people don't understand is that they're all leaders on some level. And if you open your mouth and speak, you're leading because people are listening.
mhm,
And so moving your leadership to the next level where you employ different strategies so that you're not a follower of followers, but you could be following a leader, and then you become a leader of followers, then you become a leader of leaders, right? So there's this progression as you grow into leadership. And I see it all the time in my clients who run organizations and in my martial arts school when I'm cultivating junior instructors and giving them the guidelines of how to lead. And recently I had one lady I work with, she goes, I want to know how to coach, but I want to know specifically how you coach. And it was
mm.
really interesting for me because I was like, oh, what's my secret sauce, right? Like, and so I had to think about that, right? And so, but what she's going to learn from me and what she is going to become are not going to be the same thing.
Right.
But she'll take some of what I taught her and make it her own. And that is the beauty of this book. and doing these leadership exercises. I'll just give you the guideline, but you're the one who has to step into it and make it your own. And that's where leadership really starts to develop, is when you start to own who you are without judgment of yourself and without judgment of how others perceive you. And that can probably be the biggest challenge that I see in most people.
Laura, I got to tell you, I loved the honesty that you just shared with us, because somebody said, what is it that makes you such a great coach? And because it's so automatic,
Right.
so habitual, if you will, you had to think about it. It wasn't something that, you harp on all the time, because there's so many different parts to who you are, that now somebody's saying, okay, condense them into one. And that can be a difficult thing, because there's so many facets to who you've become because of your coaching. Because I believe that in order for me to coach anyone else, I need to coach me first, right?
Yeah. And gosh, like, I make more mistakes than Carters have pills, if anybody remembers that saying. Like, I remember my mom saying that. Like, and it's the mistakes that make me have that introspection as a human being. And I'm like, okay, how could I have done that differently? That didn't feel good to me. This person had that reaction. How can we change that outcome the next time? And so it's all about, I don't even like the word fail. I think it's just a learning experience, and be okay with that, because people will give you grace. And if they don't, then they're not your tribe. And that's okay too. Right. And so give yourself grace, most of all. Make the mistakes, because you're just going to become better for yourself and others. That would be my biggest tip today, right? Is like, it's okay to be human and not have all the answers. It's okay. Yeah.
Right. It's okay to be human.
Yeah.
Because guess what? That's what we are.
Right.
It's okay to be you. It's okay to be you.
Yeah.
And so many people have that fear of not being liked, of not being right. But
Yeah.
we need to be just honest with ourselves, right? We need to love ourselves. And the honesty that we can bring forth is to maybe even say, hey, you know what? I don't know what you're asking me, but maybe let me get you the answer. Let me find out. Or maybe we can do this together. But personally, I don't have the answer that you're looking for.
Right.
That takes
Well,
courage. Some people lie through that, right? They're like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, I know everything. No, you don't.
It's funny, because that kind of leads into another section of the book there, where we talk about expectations. And to me, like, these can be like some of the biggest thing. Expectations are just premeditated disappointments, as far as I'm concerned, right? Like, you're setting yourself up for judgment you can do nothing about, but you have to deal with the consequences. And so I just start asking questions. And when I'm talking with my clients and they're like, well, this is that way. And I'm like, but is it? Or is that just your perception? Right. And so what else is possible here? And then they're like, oh, because what happens is, whether we have a conclusion of something, whether it's good or bad, what that does is it shuts off the possibilities. So you always want to be open to what can happen and what else is possible, right? So enjoy the reward, or enjoy the not so great reward, but know that there is still more coming. And so having expectations can shut that tap off of opportunity and abundance. And we want to just be sure that tap stays on.
Mhm. I love when you talked about perception. I also think that if we put interpretation in that, it
Yeah.
also makes it a bigger difference, because a lot of times, and as a public speaker yourself, actually, I'm not going to call you a public speaker. I'm going to call you a professional speaker, right? Because to me, that speaks more volume. Because anybody who goes to the mall and starts talking to somebody, that's a public speaker, right?
Right.
But somebody who impacts someone and gets paid to do it, that's a
Mhm.
professional speaker.
Yeah.
And so when a professional speaker is on stage and they're speaking or they're training a group of people, every one of those people, their perception and their interpretation can be so different. But that's why a great speaker, professional speaker, will clarify with the intention of what they want to get across. So that's why I'm saying you're a professional speaker.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that because it also brings in the communication piece, right? And how are we speaking? And you and I both are communication experts, so we understand that. But if we don't take the time to actively listen to people or speak in a variety of values that are going to reach everyone, then our message could get lost to so many people that we wanted it to reach. And so I really feel sometimes expectations and communication are like an interpretation work together, because if you communicate effectively, the interpretation gets easier and the expectations seem to disappear, right? And so then now there's collaboration and or connection or however you want to voice that kind of thing. So I really feel that that's not when I work with a lot of, especially in corporate CEOs and their teams, communication is the number one thing they struggle with. Yeah, for sure.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I love that you wanted to talk about commit to leadership. And a lot of people think, well, I don't know my own business. How can I commit to leadership? And if I work for someone, they're telling me what to do all day long. I have to follow their guides and their rules. But could you be a leader even if you work for someone else?
Absolutely. And I think that the biggest thing about that, as I'm just thinking about this, is how do you want to be perceived in what you do? Let's say you work in a corporate job. And I actually lived this example, so I know exactly what you're saying. So I worked in corporate for decades as a commodities trader. I was the only woman on the trading desk. And, you can be one of those people who shows up to work, does their work, and leaves at 5. Or you can be one of those people who people come to for questions, who know that you're going to have enough empathy and emotional intelligence to listen when they're having a bad day. You can be the one who gets promoted because you're acting in some sort of exemplary manner that's contributing not just to the company, but the people around you. No matter what the work environment is, maybe you have a crappy boss, it doesn't matter. You can still rise above the behavior of other people to embrace who you are. And that's really what leadership is. It's a very personal thing. And true leadership is when you can smile in the mirror at yourself and know you did a good job and not need accolades from other people and not need the pat on the back or you did a good job. True leadership is really stepping into your own power and owning it and not letting others take it away from you.
Yeah, I love that. So a lot of people have transitioned from corporate or working, let's put it, the man or the woman nowadays, right?
Yeah.
And they've gone from now it's time for me to have my own. But a lot of people who try to go on their own did not succeed and they
Mm-hmm.
failed. And I know we don't like the word failure, but they actually did not succeed. And so now they have to go back scrambling, tail between their legs, and looking for a job again, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they did not set themselves up to be an entrepreneur. They set themselves just to get a different job, right?
Right.
So they didn't set themselves up correctly. So when you're working for someone else, what are the steps? And I know this is a short show, but there are some steps that we can start to take in
Mm-hmm.
order to be able to become that entrepreneur, the one that doesn't come back to a job.
Right. Yeah. The most important first step would be, what do you want to do?
Mm.
And what brings you joy? What makes you happy? Because if that is aligned, that is the number one thing. Then there will be nothing stopping you. Most people fail because, like you said, they treat being an entrepreneur like being a job. So, for instance, if someone did logistics in a company and they're like, okay, I'm done working for the man, I'm going to start my own logistics company, but they hated their job, they're setting themselves up for failure because it's not bringing them joy, right? They're just moving from one place to another. So that would be my number one thing. My second thing that I would say is to create a strategic plan with partners. A lot of the time, we try to do everything ourselves because we think it's on us, and it's not on us. And so that would be to reach out to partners who can help you in all sorts of different ways, whether it's a partnership in your business. I mean, whether it's someone who is a planner and can create your business plan so that it's something that is attainable, that it is reasonable. So that would be my second step is the support. And the third thing that I would say is I didn't win 3 world titles by sitting on the back bench or quitting.
No, you did not.
So you need to be tenacious, you need to have persistence and commitment. And you have to give yourself that timeline of 1 to 2 years to really feel like you've gone all guns in, but keep those strategic partners, that business model canvas in front of you, and the passion and alignment in your heart. And when you step into that kind of power, there's no option not to succeed, as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed. Agreed. I love the tips you've shared with us today. Saying yes to a challenge that's gonna. It's almost like a diamond, right? We have to go through the rough parts in order to
Yeah,
shine. Um,
yeah,
Nothing that is worthwhile is necessarily easy. I love it when people say, "Wow, look at that person; they're an overnight success." Meanwhile, they don't know how long that person has been working for their
right.
success, right?
Yeah,
Um, your world titles did not come because one day you said,
right.
"Tomorrow I'm going to win this title." It wasn't
Yeah.
tomorrow; it was so many
eight
years of
years, eight
preparation,
years of international competition, and so many years before that of regional,
right?
local, national. Yeah. But people don't see that. So they only
Not
see
at
the end
all.
results. And so use that as inspiration for others and let them know your journey and that you've had the hard times and that you're going to hold the container for them so that they can be in that with you, right? And know that
Yeah.
that's a safe space. Yeah.
I got to tell you, my son, I spoke with my son. He's just turned 24 yesterday. And I
Nice.
said, Marco, what's going on? He goes, Dad, I got my first client. I said, well, congratulations. And he has always seen what I have done. His mom also has been a personal trainer and all these different things. And he goes, I am looking to change people's lives. So congratulations. He goes, but he still has his job. He's not leaving his job until he's fully successful with what he's doing. And so now he calls me all the time. How do I do this? How do I do that? And so I'm guiding him. I'm his business coach. I'm his training coach. So many different coaches that he needs. But
Right.
then I also said, hey, listen, it doesn't hurt, and you won't hurt my feelings if you want to go look for a different coach than me.
Yeah.
And he said, really, Dad? I said,
Yeah.
of course. I said, I don't know all the answers. I said, but guess what? I can get you started, right? I can
Hmm.
get you because he wants to kind of fall into the same category of what I've done, right? And I'm successful at it. So he wants to follow the footsteps. And one of the things that I always tell people is follow people who have actually done it, not who speak on it, not people who sit behind a book or a computer and say, yeah, I did it. Meanwhile, they physically didn't do anything. They
Right.
haven't gotten their hands dirty, if you will. So it's important for anybody to understand that his success was one client. And I said, that's it. And he goes, Dad, I didn't even give him a discount. I said, well, congratulations. You're learning from me because
Yeah.
a discount means that you're going to have to give them less. When we give
Yes.
somebody a discount, it means that we have to give you less in order to give
Yeah.
you that discount.
Yeah.
So thank God he learned that lesson.
Oh my gosh. That's so great, and I'm the same way. Like even in as a mindset coach and doing wealth mastery, like I can't teach them everything. If they want like to up level business strategy, that's not my sweet spot. I can do some of it, but I'm like, you should go to this person.
Right.
And in my martial arts school, I would send my students out to take seminars from other instructors. I said,
Mm.
have your main instructor, but go learn from other people because they're the ones who are going to make you amazing. I've given you a really great foundation, which you'll always, always have. But yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. Laura, thank you, Raij, for joining us this morning. Great morning. Um, would you mind sharing where people can go find you? And then I'll type it up in here so that people can get to connect with you, learn more about what you're doing, and all these good things that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really simple. You can go to talkwithlaura.com and book a call with me. And I would just love to hear more about you, how we can connect, how we can collaborate, and how I can refer you to build and grow your business and your life.
Could you say that again? Is it talkwithlaura.com?
Talkwithlaura.com.
That is so simple.
Yeah, right? Yeah. When I was creating that, I'm like, do I have a calendar? No, I want to make it more simple. So, yeah, it was just kind of genius, right? And so, yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Well, so many people try to complicate life.
Mm,
You did. You made it simple.
yeah. And the busier and the more we scale our life and our wealth and our business, we have less time for things that like that, and it's so interesting because I've just hired a VA. I'm at the point where I just cannot do everything myself anymore. And that was a letting go for me. And I love that. I feel free, right? It's great.
You have more time. We have more time for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
when when you did the 31-day yes challenge,
Mm.
um, you did it for 31 days, and then you decided to write a book based on it. What was the catalyst for the book?
It's a funny story. So I love telling stories. So the story is that I had been featured in a couple of chapters in other books that I had, written over COVID, like one chapter in an anthology kind of thing. And I'm like, always admired authors so much, and I always felt it was something so overwhelming to write a book that I just couldn't do it. Like to me, like I have like the attention span of a flea, right? To sit and write like is just like torture. Even though like I have lots of things to say, it was just the commitment of the time to sit and not move and write. And that's what I thought writing books were about, because that was my perception. And lo and behold, my ghostwriter, Helen Snell, comes around. She goes, no, we could just do some interviews and write your book from there. I'm like, what? Because I love talking. And so, and I said, well, I have all these videos I can transcribe. And she goes, perfect. We've already done the interviews. We'll just clear things and the book will go out. I was like, what? It's that simple? So for me, I wrote the book mostly for myself,
Mm.
to improve myself and do those things to up level, which is what happened. But it just turned into this whole big thing, which I was willing to have for everyone else to, if it was going to contribute to them, if they were interested. And of course, as you know, Raphael, that just ripples out into the world, to create greatness. So I love that. That's my reason.
Love it. Love it. Laura, thank you so much for being here with me and sharing
My
some
pleasure.
incredible tips. I'm going to put the website of your website's going across talkwithlaura.com. Uh, give us 30, 45 seconds what somebody can expect when they go reach out to you.
Absolutely. I'll see where you are in your life. We will talk about where you are in your business, the things that you will get you into your vision, which is where you should be living every single day. And then we will figure out how to get rid of the things that are limiting you. And I will give you some tools, regardless of our conversation, so you can shift your mindset, scale your wealth, and move forward in your life in a powerful way.
Love it. Love it. And Raj says thank you, and she just she thought it was funny, not the attention of a span of a flea.
So
Well,
true. Oh
my
my
dear,
gosh. I work on it.
you're exceptional. You're exceptional.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you do and inspiring people to be the best versions of themselves. Thank you for being here with me today. I truly, truly appreciate you. Just hang on for a second, everybody else. Great show. Go share it with somebody who needs to hear this message. Thank you, Laura.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye bye.